Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about something that is truly the bedrock of every single great business. It's this idea of a true north. Now, it's more than just some catchy business phrase, it's the internal compass that can genuinely guide a brand to success. So how do you find it? Well, let's dive in.
So let's just start with a really big question. If you strip away all the logos, the products, the slogans, what's left? What is the actual soul of a brand? What's the thing that gives it life and a real sense of direction?
And you know what? The answer is actually pretty simple. It's a set of values. Think of these values like a compass, one that's always pointing to your brand's true north. It's that fixed point in a constantly changing world that just keeps you on course.
Okay, so that brings us to our first big idea here, your brand's North Star. We're going to break down exactly why having this compass isn't just, a nice to have. It is an absolute essential for any business that wants to build something that's meaningful and built to last.
So what does this compass actually do for you? Well, it serves three incredibly important functions. For starters, it guides your decisions, everything from massive strategic moves down to the tiny choices you make every day. Then it shapes your company culture, creating a kind of shared identity. And maybe most importantly, it helps you build a real, genuine connection with customers who believe in what you stand for.
Right. So having a purpose is one thing, but turning that big idea into a practical guide, that's a whole other ballgame. In this next section, we're going to look at how to take those fuzzy, abstract ideas and forge them into concrete principles you can actually use to run your business. First things first, let's get a really clear definition down so we're all on the same page. Brand values are those core, fundamental beliefs that guide you. And listen, they're not just words you slap on a wall. They are the principles that should be actively shaping every single thing a company does and says. Okay, now this is where the rubber meets the road. This framework is where your values become real. See, it's not enough to just pick a value like collaboration. You have to define what that actually means for your team, and then, this is the most critical part, you have to outline the specific, observable behaviors that prove that value is alive and well in your organization. This is the bridge from idea to action. Let's look at a few powerful examples to see what this looks like in action. Take integrity. It's not just a buzzword. Here it's defined as doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Boom. That's a clear guide for behavior. Or what about customer centricity? Existing to make customers' lives easier. These aren't just feel-good phrases. They are tangible commitments that can shape every single decision you make. So, you've defined your values, you've got them written down. Now comes the really hard part, actually living them. In this section, we're going to dig into how you embed these principles so deeply into your company that they just become second nature, part of its very DNA.
The very first test of any brand value happens inside your own walls. Before you can ever convince your customers, you've got to convince your own team. So the question is, how do these beautiful words on a PowerPoint slide actually translate into the day-to-day actions and behaviors of your people?
Well, it really boils down to three critical steps. It all starts with hiring. You've got to attract people who already share your values. Then, you train them. You teach them exactly how those values apply to their specific jobs. And finally, and this one is absolutely non-negotiable, your leaders have to model these values consistently every single day. If it's not coming from the top, it's not going to stick. Okay, so once you've got your own house in order, it's time to turn your attention outward. This section is all about communicating authentically, making sure the voice your customers hear out in the world perfectly matches that internal compass that's guiding you. And here's the blueprint for making that happen. Every single touch point, from the copy on your website to the tone of your ads to how a customer service agent handles a tough call, every single one has to be a direct reflection of a core value. Think of it this way. Every interaction is a chance to prove you mean what you say. So you could have the most aligned internal culture and the most consistent external messaging in the world. But there's a catch. What if the message isn't being received the way you think it is? What do your customers actually think and feel about your brand? This is where we have to be brutally honest with ourselves. On one side, you have your desired perception. That's what you want your customers to think about you. But on the other side, you have their current perception, what they actually think. And that space in between, that is the gap. Understanding and closing that gap is one of the most important jobs in all of branding. And that leads us right to our final section, which is the ultimate litmus test. It's time to ask some really tough questions to see if your values are just words on a page or if they're a powerful living force that's actually driving your success. Question number 1. Are they authentic? I mean, really authentic? Can you point to real, daily examples of your values in action? Because if you can't, they're not real yet. It has to be a lived experience, not just some corporate statement.
Next up, do they resonate? Do your employees feel inspired by them? Do your customers feel connected to them? Look, values that don't connect with people are just noise. They have to mean something to the human beings on both sides of the transaction.
And last but not least, are they relevant? Do your values actually make sense for your specific industry, and even more importantly, do they directly support your company's ultimate mission? They have to be aligned with your purpose to have any real power.
And so, we land on the one question that really ties all of this together. So look at your brand or any brand you admire, and just ask this. Are the values clear, consistent, and actionable, both internally and externally? Because when the answer to that is a confident yes, you haven't just created a good brand, you've found your true north.